So hey everyone, and welcome to week 6 of what's growing in the garden, and also just all the projects that we do throughout the week. But today, I'm going to tip you up here and you can see we have a very overcast day. It's on the cool side, and actually this whole last week has been really more typical of Oregon in spring, but we have had beautiful weeks leading up to this, which has caused my corn to sprout a lot quicker than it normally would. But we're going to go ahead and plant our succession round number 4 of corn today. I'm possibly considering doing one more. That will remain to be seen for next week. Coming out here, this is the second week succession that we planted. It's all up nice and pretty. And this is the very first week. I have a few more back there. But if you are new here, welcome. We are succession planting and planting in pots because we have mice problems. And if I were to just put the seeds directly in the soil out in the garden, the mice would gobble them up and I would have no corn. So by doing it this way, the kernel has sprouted and there isn't a whole lot of it left by the time I get it put into the garden, and I seem to have a lot better success this way. So we are on our third succession planting of sunflowers, and I have decided this week I am only going to plant 32 instead of a whole tray of 52. And that's simply because I don't yet have my farm stand up. I haven't established my subscription flower account back up yet. I don't know if I'm going to wait till next year to do that, but I just don't want to overplant. I can always send some to my daughter's work. One of my daughters works at the veterinary clinic, and when someone has to unfortunately put a pet down, many years I will just donate a whole bunch of flowers, and then my daughter and another gal at her work put little mini bouquets together and send them home with clients after the loss of their sweet little pet. So I'm just going to get these watered in, labeled, and then I will show you what the other 2 succession plantings look like. So this is my first week of sunflower. The cotyledons that came out first to support the growth of the plant are turning yellow, and many times once they're not needed anymore, they will turn yellow and fall off. But just to be transparent, these little suckers are getting root bound and I need to get them put in the ground. But the problem is that we had 2 good days of rain. So I'm going to try really hard to get those in the ground. This is week 2 of the succession planting, and you can see they're still nice and green. These are still the cotyledons, and then the first set of true leaves are starting to come out on those. But once we get these ones planted, it's not going to matter. Sunflowers are pretty forgiving and they'll just take off. So we have been working on extending the height of our T-posts, because when we moved in, we had a lot of fence line that was put in with 6-foot T-posts with a standard fence. And we have a problem with deer, especially for our garden areas, and so we needed to have the height of the T-posts extended. And looking online at T-post extenders, they were incredibly expensive. So instead, we went and we bought 2-inch PVC pipe, which, as I'll show you, just slips right on top of the T-post and instantly gives you an extended T-post. As you can see over on this side, we just used the orange contractor netting, and that's what we're going to be putting on the T-posts. We're going to drill a hole in the top, and then we're just going to secure them with zip ties for this year. We may come back and secure them with a piece of metal strapping later. Okay, so from here all the way down, we're not quite to the end of the row on this one, but that is one of the 100-foot rolls we bought. We purchased 3, hoping that it will be enough, but I will put a picture either before or after this clip showing you the exact product that we're using. So we just used contractor or barrier fencing. It's sturdy plastic. This is just for deer prevention. It isn't to try to keep any animals in, but you can see we extended the T-posts, drilled the holes in the top, got them all zip tied on, and now we are officially deer proof with simple solution T-post extenders. So I finally have things set up where I can safely put my corn down here in the field. And if you happen to catch one of my previous videos when I was planting the seeds, I did mention that I would give you a tip about planting corn out in the field, and this is what it is. This right here is alfalfa pellets, and this is just exactly what you would go buy at a feed store to give for horses or any other animal that you wanted to feed alfalfa pellets to, even rabbits. But what I do, see, I sprinkle it down in the trough that I make for the corn, and this stuff swells up very quickly in water and starts releasing its nitrogen right away. This is the 3rd year that I'll have been using this, and it works amazing. I do top dress with another nitrogen fertilizer as well, but I like to put this down near the root bases because it doesn't burn and it just feeds the roots with nitrogen. So now we are going to plant the corn. So I was going to set you up on my tripod, but we have such uneven ground around here that it just doesn't want to stand up straight. So I just wanted to show you, this is the first round of corn that I planted. You can see the roots are nice and healthy. No way are they root bound. And I am just going to come down here and I am just going to tuck this down in there. Put some of the native soil back on top. And then I will come through. I have drip tape that I'm going to run down each of my rows, but probably today I will just be hand watering them in, and we'll put the drip tape on another day and I will show you that. So I have 3 rows so far, and I'm just doing partial rows so that I have these rows spaced apart. That way the wind can blow and they can pollinate each other. And then as I do succession plantings, I will continue on down the row evenly on each row. And then when this fills up, I will do my next section. But you can see, I gave them all a drink of water so that the native soil could adhere around the roots of the little transplants that I put in there. And I made sure that I watered the transplants well before I put them in the ground. So these are good to go until I get the drip tape on. So I have to show you the craziest thing. This is my calendula plant, and on here, this is a dead seed head from last year that I did not get pruned off. And look at all the blooms coming out of that dead seed head. That is so bizarre, but kind of cool. Alright, so on our way to tour the garden, It's kind of hard to see with the trailers in the background, but this is valerian and it's blooming beautiful. The Sweet William is really starting to come into bloom. This is a, can't remember. If I think of it, I'll put it up on the screen. But I have bee balm in here and some more Sweet William. The sweet peas that I planted are starting to take off. And down here I put the cantaloupes. I literally had a squirrel dig up one and it died, so I'm -1, but I still have plenty. So my herb bed is just lushed out. The tricolor sage is really taking off. And if you saw one of my herb video, I had said the third color will come out as we get more towards summer, and there it is. You've got the green, kind of burgundy, and then a pinky white. My thyme is now blooming. Carrots are getting taller every day. I didn't have the best germination, and one, I had older seed, and two, we had 2 days in a row of absolute torrential pounding rain after I planted this, and I think some of the seeds got pushed down just a little too deep. I am incredibly bummed about my goji berries because by now, if it was going to bloom late spring, which they said May into June, I should be seeing some kind of bloom heads on it by now, and I don't see any, so I guess I might have to wait till next year on that. Potatoes are doing fabulous, getting nice and big. And would you look at the blueberries on this plant? Oh my word, I am gonna have to get these covered with netting here pretty soon or I'll lose them all to the darn birds. Tomatoes they're getting a little bit bigger, but we've had kind of a cool week and a half, so they're not really taking off. But look at this. Some of my onions at least decided to start cooperating. I have a few that are still kind of wimpy back there, but I did plant a few of my dill seedlings in here. And nope, I still have not trellised or staked up my raspberry plants. Yeah, they're hanging everywhere. I'll get to it eventually. The peas, they're starting to climb, and see back there the kohlrabi, they were just the tiniest little seedlings 2 weeks ago, and now they're looking great. Got the tomatoes and the English peas on this side, and that over there is butterhead lettuce. I just need to get it put in the ground. But I'm so excited about this. Peas are my sugar snap peas. And I had mentioned before, one of my favorite things is coming out here in the morning when I'm harvesting vegetables and to just grab 4 or 5 sugar snap peas and munch away on them as I'm working. So these, if I step back, you can see they're really high. Garlic is continuing to grow. And if you look, it's even starting to crack the ground. So because we had such a really warm spring for the most part, I'm probably a couple weeks ahead. So I'll probably be able to harvest these probably in the middle of June or into the first week in June, but we'll see. The pear tree, pears are getting bigger. It is still loaded. I have not lost hardly any. My little Pixie Crunch apple tree, it is still completely loaded. And some of the apples are starting to get bigger as well. My strawberries, these look like they're ripe, but they still have a tip of green on the bottom, so I'm probably going to wait one more day or so. And this is the one bed that I mulched with straw. The other one I did not. These are my cauliflower plants protected by the netting. Might be kind of hard to see, but they're doing great. As well as my English peas on this side. They snapped out of it and they're starting to climb the trellis. My broccoli plants also inside the netting to protect them from that darn white cabbage moth. And this bed over here is tomatoes, and I have not put the cages in here yet. That's next on my list. And this is Bee's Friend. That one's in bud phase. This one's starting to open, and that one is even more open. And this is my borage plant. I got a little bumblebee down there, even on a cool day working it over. I just love the intense blue. And I will leave you with a shot of my Chasing Rainbows bearded iris. Aren't they gorgeous? But that's pretty much most of the stuff that's been happening this week on week 6, heading into week 7. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I will see you next time.